Henry McClure Live. How are you? I got to turn this down on this other channel. YouTube. I don't get YouTube. I don't. Okay? You can't have copywritten music playing on your YouTube, but yet I'm playing it off YouTube. One of the things, I don't read the fine print all the time. So my life is like Star Wars. Because like you get to hear the stories, but they're not in order. You know what I mean? Okay, I got an idea for this science fiction thing, and then we're going to show episode 4 first. And 7 was one of the weakest ones because they tried to like create all this backstory. You know, okay, so look, just tell everybody, if you haven't watched 1 through 6, you know, go watch those and then come to this movie. So I got the hat on due to the fact it's a little chilly in the house. I got the attic fan going on, and I'm trying to move the paint odor, you know, that latex. I like the smell of latex in the morning. Apocalypse Now. And that's a cool movie. You know, who's that? Robert Duvall. He's a maniac. I like that guy. And anyway, so Crossroads Mall. And I got to tell you about a good friend of mine named Mike Siegel. And I've talked about him before. But he was Mace Siegel's nephew, the Mace in MaceRich. But, and a lot of people who didn't know Mike and dealt with him didn't know, at least my opinion of him was whatever he was doing, you know, he was an earner and he was doing his own thing. You know what I mean? Like, it never hurts to be related. It never hurts to have an edge. But, hey, look, at the end of the day, if you go there and do your work, doesn't matter who the hell you're related to. And it's like being back in Topeka. All the other commercial guys used to say, oh, yeah, he's related to Dana Anderson, which I wish. But so here, I got to turn this down. Anyway, I've had a long day painting. But I wanted to talk about an experience that I had as a tenant construction coordinator at the Crossroads Mall in Boulder, and how working with Mike Siegel was so influential and pivotal on my growth in the mall business and also as a professional. So it's like, no, you know, no is a complete sentence. But what I was doing, my responsible as the tenant plans coordinator, you know, just new with the company. I was like the number 3 trainee at MaceRich. Mike was first, then a guy named Mike Johnson, and then Henry McClure. And I was down in Winter Park, Florida, working for this guy named Charles Waldron, who, like, you know, I thought I'd made a terrible mistake, you know, joining the company, working for this Waldron fella. You know, his heart was in the right place, but, you know, he was far too conservative for me and my attitude at that age, you know. And, you know, his values were so much more pure and affable than mine were at the time. So therein lied the conflict. But anyway, I mean, I'm serious. Like 3 days into the job, I hated it. It was like, oh, shit. So I'm reading this thing called the Happenings, the MaceRich Happenings, and there's an article in there about this mall in Boulder and this project. And I said, they need a guy like me on this project. You know, I should be there. So then about 10 o'clock the third day, on the third day, he rose again in accordance with the scriptures. That's kind of funny, Sunday sermon. But it really, like, 1, 2, 3. The third day of the company, third day with the company, my life changed. And 1, 2, 3, boom. So about 10 o'clock, he calls me. I'm like in a file room. I grab my yellow notepad and a pen, run in there to say, okay, what do you need me to do? And he goes, well, we got this mall in Boulder. And I go, okay, when do I go? He goes, who told you? And I go, no, man, I read the Happenings. And, you know, it looks like a cool project. And he says, well, so my job is to tell you everything I know about plans. And I mean, and we drilled going over the plans and what the requirements were. And Charles, out of all respect, really did, you know, hey, look, you got to get the riser diagrams for electrical and plumbing, and you got to get the HVAC, and you're going to have 2 levels, so you're going to need split systems and rooftops, and, you know, and you got to get a sample board and the sign details. So he goes over all the requirements that are that's really going to basically be in the lease, and my job to make sure the tenants perform. And then, so my job is to report to the leasing committee on behalf of management. And so I don't know if I reported to Mike. I don't know, man. At that time of my life, I reported to everybody, you know, kind of like now. But anyway, man, Mike would always call me up, check in on me. And man, you just didn't want to look stupid to Mike Siegel. You know, you figure he's in there reporting to Mace exactly what's going on. And, well, all right, so where are you with the plans on this deal? Well, I got everything but the HVAC plans. Okay, well, why don't you have the HVAC plans? Well, I'll tell you what, I'll call them. And I mean, seriously. So then I'm calling the HVAC guy, hey, where are your plans? You're holding up the whole project. And like, I mean, that's what you had to do. And what was most interesting about this process was, it turns out in business, especially retail leasing, that kind of so goes the plan, so goes the deal. The only deal that wasn't true was for Lerner. I think the Lerner stores, we had a complete set of plans, completely done, and then they never signed the lease, or they never performed anyway. Can't remember what was going on with Lerner at that time, because I was the grunt. I was, you know, I'm out in the mall making sure the stores are being built to plan, which was really kind of cool. That one day the project manager, his name was Henry Nathan Sims, and I'd always call him Henry. You know, Henry Nathan. That's what I'd call him, Henry Nathan. You know, so he came into my office one day, and he'd say, you know, he said, all right, you know the plans better than everybody. He handed me a walkie-talkie. He goes, now go out and make sure they build them to plan. But let's go back a little further. So, because Crossroads Mall changed the complexion of the MaceRich company. And working with, I'll never forget, I met this knucklehead who I love, Tommy Murrin. The very first day I met him, he comes up to me, he goes, hi, I'm Tom Murrin. And I go, I'm Henry Austin McClure. You know, for some reason, I wanted to be pompous or whatever. And he goes, Henry? He goes, that's my middle name. He goes, I'm Thomas Henry Murrin. And I said, Henry Austin McClure. And he goes, Austin. He goes, that's a cool name. I tell you what, if I ever have a son, I'm going to name him Austin. And sure enough, the son of a bitch did it. There's an Austin out there because of me. What do I got going on here? Oh, guy's going to pay me a commission. You know, sometimes I take my checks monthly. You know, I'll take my checks however I can get them. Which is it's very important in the brokerage business, is getting paid. So, you know, I'd come back from lunch. I'd go, you know, with Yeager. We had Steve Yeager, Steve Roush, Tom Murrin, Scott Burchard, who I call Hawkeye. You know, so we're all in the office, and then we had Sandy as the receptionist, who's like the church lady. But, you know, she was actually pretty cool because somehow she tolerated us all because, you know, we were, you know, a lot of testosterone. And then, man, I can't think of, I love the lady. I'll think of her in a second, the bookkeeper. And then you had out in the construction office, you had Henry Nathan and his brother Brooks. And then they hired this guy named Bill Hendricks. And Bill was quite a trip. So anyway, so you had the construction trailer, you had me and the management, you know, reporting to leasing, and just out there, just total. It was perfect for Henry, you know, because, you know, I could get up and go and do and call, and you really felt like a part of it. And I got to know Mace, and really I got to know Dana Anderson a lot better than I did growing up with him on Lake Sherwood. And I mean, because then I got to know the professional side of Dana, you know, because Dana was actually kind of really kind of famous in Topeka for, you know, this real estate guy doing well, moving to Santa Monica, you know, Dana was moving up. You know, Mace and Dana, that relationship is what made MaceRich what it is today. And that's a story. So anyway, we're clipping along, and man, I remember right now at this time in 1983, boy, the pressure was on. God, the pressure was on. So we got like 500,000 foot of space under construction. We got Mady and F, 2-level. We got an art project going on in the community. We got tenants under construction. We got leases still going. I mean, it's amazing. And you got some of the most fun, you know, man, like it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I better get some sleep, you know, a couple of times, you know, really a couple of times, you know, go check in real quick and then go home, you know, show up to work, kind of, you know, I could go here, do that, take my radios, go home, catch 10, you know, catch a half an hour, take a shower, put on new clothes, whatever. I think you know what I mean. So work hard, play hard gig working. Okay, so we go through the grand opening, and it's a big deal. We make it on time. Even in spite of Bimini construction. Oh, Bimini. Those knuckleheads. Don't ever give one guy too many jobs. So we're at this dinner, and this is all the mall office, the construction department, you know, all the MaceRich crew, people from Santa Monica, everybody's in town. We got this huge dinner, and like it's like a U down here, and then like a main table, and you know, Henry McClure. Well, I take my place at the main table, you know. I'm sitting on the end. I'm sitting next to Mike Siegel, and then Mace is over there. And anyway, so Mace gets out that way, and he starts walking around talking to everybody. And he finally makes it next to me. And he said, Henry, and Mace is like, Mace's persona is a lot bigger than his stature, and he's a big guy. Henry, yeah, this, you know that voice you get from smoking unfiltered Pall Malls and drinking whiskey. Hey, Henry, I'm telling you what, when this guy talked, your button was like, you listened. He's like 10 times more powerful than E.F. Hutton, if you remember that. He says, you did a good job with construction. What are you going to do now? Go into leasing? And then I start telling him about how much fun I have in the construction department, and how I think I could really do good in construction working for Henry Nathan. And then about that time, I get hit in the side. I mean, I get elbowed. Boom! It's Mike. And I look over at Mike, and he goes, Henry, he's offering you leasing. Leasing runs the company. Leasing runs the industry. You don't want to let Mike down. At that point, he's been your guy on the inside. You know, he's been funneling information, making sure that you don't look as stupid as you could in front of the leasing committee. I looked at Mace and said, going into leasing. He goes, yeah, that's a good choice. He goes, now I'll get you an assignment as soon as I can. And so then 2 days later, Bill, or maybe actually the next day, I can't remember. Let's just say it's 2 days later. We're going backwards. 3, 2. And Bill Hendricks quits. The project manager quits. And Henry Nathan goes, all right. He goes, I need you to pick up the slack. Hendricks is out of here. Nobody liked that guy. Anyway, so Hendricks is gone. So I had to do the punch list on the corn shell with Al Cohen, who was the GC on the project, get the utility punch list done. And I got to prepare a pad site for Mervin's. And, you know, so we're clipping along. One day, Henry Nathan calls me. He goes, run Al Cohen off the job. Okay, Nathan. You know, it's like they'd been hanging around too long. It was time to get them gone. So, it was a trip because we built the corn shell of that mall union, and then all of it was non-union. So I could walk the mall, and the union guys are giving the other guys shit, and I'm saying, hey, you know, you work for me, get the, you know, get to work, and hey, you know, by the lease, you're not supposed to mess with my guys. You know, it was survival. You know, old Hawkeye told me that I had a couple of threats. Well, that's fine. I wasn't smart enough back then to be afraid. Hey, just go to work, do your job, do the right thing. I got my man on the inside that protected me. And Mace. So that was that was a real huge transition for me. And it really set the pace for my career inside the MaceRich company and the shopping center industry. I mean, it was beautiful. I mean, and I got to thank my friend Mike Siegel for helping me do what was right. You know, don't take no for an answer. Get in there, get it done. Got no excuses. And that's kind of the way you got to be today with life. You know, what are you going to do? You got to make that next phone call. You know, you can't just sit back and accept defeat. One, two, three. My whole life has changed. So at about 6 months later, I got my first assignment to go down to Chattanooga, Tennessee and start leasing. And what was really cool was when Claude Skip Kaisers, who was like, Skip actually did some really cool stuff at MaceRich as far as transforming what the tenants had to do in the older malls that we were buying. Because what they used to do is they used to like build them all, and then you put like a strip center type store in there, like a closed front, you know, double doors. Hey, you got a 40-foot front, open it up. Let's get people in and out. You know, we got to make these stores more inviting. And Claude he worked for the Sagerstrom family in Southern California, and he was like the brainchild behind South Coast Plaza, which is like Southern California's #1 mall, if not a California. Maybe, I don't know. It used to be. But Southern California, I'm sure. I mean, it's an awesome mall. And Mace got him away from that guy. And Claude, which I always called him Claude. I don't know. I just don't think you should call a grown man Skip. I mean, isn't that humiliating? Although he was a skip, but big deal. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, his mom probably hated him in the beginning, calling him Claude. But that aside, I digress. Claude was a cool dude. Learned some good shit from him. And, you know, working for the MaceRich company when I did, it put me on the right path. And being on the right path is important today. And you have to dig into your heart and psyche and what's happened in my past that I can bring forward, and so I can be the best Henry McClure. And some of the values and the basics that I learned at Crossroads Mall have stayed with me forever. And I'm thankful for all of those people that helped me along the way. So, kind of done with the painting project. This color is awesome, poppy seed. It's going to end up really looking cool. And I've got some comparison and contrasting going with the white and the poppy seed. So I'm live. And some of you guys are surprised that I am after the way I've lived my life. I love you guys. Henry McClure.